Hello everyone, this is Marie from Skeletorama again. Welcome back to my channel. Ephemera House Shift. How's everybody doing? I'm doing great. So on our last episode, I guess you could call it, we took care of the covering the front and the decorative pieces and our ribbon closure, which means that now we get to move on to step one of the decorating fun stuff is the tassel. For me it is anyway. I like to do the tassel fairly early on because that's when I decide kind of the color palette of the ribbons and the fibers and things that are going to go in it. And it's just cute and it's fun. So we're going to do that. And then if we have time, we are also going to do the lace on the pages. It's kind of hard to show you this, but we're going to do that on the pages too. So what I'll do is I'll give you kind of an overview of here's how I put stuff places and where, and we'll pick the stuff, and then I'll probably just do one of those fast forward things through the actual process so that it's not, an hour-long video if it doesn't need to be. So that's what we are going to do. So I'm going to get some stuff together real quick, and I will join you guys back in just a second. So here we have the tassel that I made for the other journal, and as you can see, there's lots of different elements to it. You have your ribbons, you have fabric strips, you have charms and beads and string. The main thing that makes up the structure of it though is this bulb pin here. Let's see if you can see that. Okay, there's a bulb pin here and then there's this clip. So of the things we need, I have one of the clips here. I believe this is a Tim Holtz one, but you can get just the regular little small clips, and that's going to allow it to clip on the side of it, but you can remove it if you want your journal to lay down flat. We have bulb pins, and I grabbed 2 this time because I have on here a little miniature book ring, and I can't find, I either don't have any more or I can't find where I put them, so we'll use a bulb pin to hang the extra charm dangles from. So we have those. And then I do have a couple things. This right here is, and we're centered, not really. This is a Scrabble tile thing that I made. So you just take your Scrabble tile and your picture and Mod Podge, and you Mod Podge it on there, and you let it dry. And then I hit it with some glitter Mod Podge as well, so it has that glitter in it. I don't know if you can see that. And then you do glossy accents over the top of it, and it makes a nice sturdy little tile. So this can be one of the things that's dangling down from there. And then I grabbed a selection of beads. I have some glass beads. This one is jade type looking thing. Another glass bead and some metal ones. Some of these are going to be kind of dicey. Like that hole's really small, but we'll see if I can use a needle to get any of the pieces of thread through it. That's going to be a maybe. So we have a little selection of those. And then to attach things, we also will need some jump rings. I have 2 different ones. We'll see which one I want to use. These ones are a bit larger. These are 7mm. I believe these are 5, but I like the copper because it's going to match with the gold and everything better. So we'll probably use the 5. It's just they can be really finicky to work with. We have those, and then we will also have this string. So this string here is what I was talking about in the video about signatures. And it's this really nice thick cotton string that you get in, I think it's the embroidery department of the craft store or fabric store. We're going to use that to tie the top of it together. But we're going to leave it nice and long so we can use it as dangle stuff too. Now if you don't want to use the clip to attach it, and you do want to use punch a hole in the spine and use a grommet in there, these are the things you would use to attach your tassel to. So the bulb pin would go in here, and these are little fasteners, and they have like a little jump ring component to them, and so you would just take those, the brad ends, and you put it through the hole and then put them back out straight. Ideally you want to do that before you glue your signatures in so that your actual signatures can then cover this. And it's seamless and you don't have a hole coming through the other side. You won't see the hole from the inside. And then of course we need some charms. So we have these ones here. These are the ones that we used where we cut the ends off for the decorative pieces for the front of the journal. I got a couple sizes of those. And I have some other charms here. I have the Tree of Life ones. I have some Celtic knot ones, and these just have the one hole at the top. I have some shamrock ones, and then I have some buttons in here, and there's a Celtic knotwork button that I have on the other one. So we'll use a bunch of those different things. And then of course we have the ribbon. So I'll move all this stuff and I'll show you the ribbon and the fabric and all that stuff. So last week when I went into Joann's, because I remembered they had St. Patrick's Day fabric right now, which is a great time to get anything Irish themed. You do have to weed through a lot of very cheesy Irish themed things, but there's still some cool stuff. So some of the fabric that we're going to use for the tassel, we've got the one that we covered it with, and then this is the stuff that I got at Joann's. So this has kind of some stripes to it. We have this one, and we're going to use this fabric throughout the journal as well. I like this one. It has all the different names of places and things on there. That's the sparkles, and then of course this has the flag colors on it, so I really like that one. So what I did was I took the liberty of making these into these. Whee! So I did way more than obviously I need for a tassel, because that would be like the biggest tassel in the history of tassels. But what I did was I tore a section, and then I cut it into, you know, I snipped it and then tore it into smaller strips, because I'm going to use these different strips throughout the whole journal. So we can have these strips to use for the tassel, and we can use them throughout the journal and beyond, because obviously there's a ton here. So what I'll do is I'll pick out all the, I did some really skinny ones, specifically tassel width, you know. So we'll grab some of those out of here. Of course it's a jumbled up mess, because that's just what I do, I guess. So we got that one. Let's see, where's the little skinny green one? And then the nice thing with this fabric is you could tear it either way, so I tore it so it kept the names on it, which is cute. So let's see, where's our book one? I had skinny ones of that. Okay, well that should be plenty. So let me put these away. So in addition to the fabric strips, if we take the tassel that I made for the other one and look at it, it has all sorts of different things in here. So we're also going to use some ribbon. So I have some plainer ones, and since this journal seems to be going kind of green and gold, I went ahead and grabbed some gold ones. And then of course I got lots of different ribbon. So we have that. We have this as a nice thin one. I have some cute ribbon that's thicker, but you know, it's way too thick for a tassel. But there's these ones. And I have some other ones that I had left over from other projects. So we got ribbon, and then we've got yarns. So just like I do with the ribbon, where I'll take it off the spool and I'll put it here because this is way easier to store than this. I do the same with yarn, because you get those big skeins of yarn and sometimes they'll get tangled up and whatnot. So I just cut a big huge one of these and I sit there and I undo it and I wrap it all around here, and it just makes my life way easier when I store them, because instead of having a big thing this way, I can put them all kind of in a row. So we have this one, we have the eyelash trim, and then we have this one. This has some blue elements to it, but you know, obviously we can look at it and steer away from the blue. So those are the things that we're going to use to make our little tassel. So let me get this cleared up and we will pick what we want to use, and I'll show you how to cut everything for it. All right, so one of the things we're going to need to do is we're going to need to figure out how long we want to cut all the different ribbon and things of that nature. So what I do is measure this. This is about, it's about 8 inches long or so. So we're going to give ourselves a little bit of extra room, as we learned with the closure for the journal. That was fun. So I'm going to go ahead and cut all of the threads and ribbons and things to about 18 inches, and then if we need to we can cut some off the bottom, but we're also going to tie knots, which will shorten things up and that sort of stuff. So the first category we're going to choose from is going to be the fabric. So I think I don't want it to be too bright, so we'll do probably this one here. Scissors out. Go ahead and trim the selvage end off that. All right, so we want to go about 18 inches with this. So on this is 14, but I'm going to go to 12 and then 6 after that. So measure out 12 and then 6. Okay, so about yay long. Okay, not crazy long, but long enough. And we'll do the same. We'll use this one. I really like this one. See if one end is thinner than the other. Probably this end. So we are going to go again 12 and 6. I'm going to start making a pile. You can use, as many things as you want. It really just depends on how big you want the tassel, how thick your materials are, that sort of stuff. And then I want to use the one with the place names, I think. Nope. You know what? I'm going to use the bright green. I like the bright green. And this bright green one is already the right length. So yay, we didn't have to cut that. All right, so let's move this. We'll set this up here. I think we will do, since we have kind of our pile, we'll use our pile to measure now. So let's get some of the yarn next. Okay, so we'll start with this one. And I got it a little too frazzled at the one end, so let's do that. This will kind of work its way apart eventually, which is fine. You kind of want it to, but we don't want it to do it while we're trying to work with it. Okay, so we put it against our pile and measure and cut. And we'll do the same with the eyelash trim. The trick on this is me finding where I stopped with the eyelash trim because it's so fuzzy. All right, so this we're going to do same thing. And as you cut these, you'll naturally make them, longer or shorter. You won't be cutting them exact. If you do, you're very good at that. I can't do that. Okay, so now we're going to do this particular yarn, and as you can see, it's got a lot of spots that have kind of blue to it. And I don't know that the blue would really go with this. It kind of stands out. So what we're going to do is we're just going to go down this until we hit the part where it's more of the green and yellow, because that will. And so we'll kind of sit this here. We'll cut it at both ends, and then I'll just take the extra piece that was cut off, and that'll go in the scrap pile. Have a very large scrap pile. Okay, so we have 6 things, and you can always kind of see where you're going with it by just taking it and folding it in half and seeing, okay, is that going to be big enough? Maybe it is for you. Maybe you don't want a huge one. That's not quite fat enough for me, so let's put this back over here, and let's do some of the ribbons. So I'm going to do this one here. And we'll do one of the gold ones. This is a nice kind of subdued gold color. So let's take that, lay that here. And some of the ribbons, if you want, you can, add fray check to them if you're afraid that they're gonna start coming apart. That is a woven ribbon that's pretty good about not coming apart, so wouldn't have to do that one. This is like a grosgrain ribbon, so you really don't have to do it with that. And then the fabric, generally I don't, because I kind of want it to get scruffy and raggedy. Okay, and then this ribbon that I picked up at Walmart of all places has, of course, the tape on the end of it because I just opened it. All right, we'll use this one too, because this will give a nice pop of color, and I like the metallic gold to it. And to keep this kind of stuff, this is more that kind of satin ribbon. You can also cut it at an angle that'll make it not fray quite as much, but this one I'll probably want to put the fray check on. And I want to get that little piece of tape off there. Okay, let's see. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9. And I think we'll go with this one as well. So give it some balance, put a little more neutral color to it. And then maybe this one, so we can have a nice bright pop of gold in there. Now this particular ribbon has the wire to it. You can tell because it's like it's holding its shape, you know. It doesn't mean you can't use it. It just means you're going to need to take it, and if you kind of push, you can push the wire up at the end, and I just grab it with a pair of pliers and I'll pull the wire out. And then do the same on the other side. So you're gonna, there's no way you're gonna see this because I can barely see it and I'm sitting right next to it, but pull that piece of wire there and pull it out. Okay, so now you have a nice flexible piece of ribbon without the wire in it. You can do that with any of them. I got this one, can't remember where I got this one, but this is just so cute. I had to do it, but it has the wire as well. So I will be using this, but I'll be taking that wire out of it. So don't let the ribbon having wire stop you. You can absolutely use it. And this is a lame, so this is gonna fray like crazy. So this we will definitely use fray check on. Okay, so let's grab these by the center and fold them over and see, okay, now we got a nice meaty tassel. Okay, and it looks really cute. So now we can set about getting it folded over and making the tassel. Okay, so we are going to do this stuff here and kind of lay it out. And I do this just so I can make sure that I'm getting kind of a nice variety of things. Like I love this ribbon, but it's going to be in the center, so it's not making the biggest statement out of everything. And you don't want to have, you know, all your yarn clumped together and all your ribbons clumped together. You kind of want to have everything sort of spaced out real nice and your colors spaced out and that sort of thing. So we will do that here. I'll have a patterned ribbon over here. All right. And so what I do is usually I will just start grabbing this and I'm going to fold it in half. I'm going to start holding it in my hand. So that way I can control, make sure it's even as far as length. And I can make sure if it's got a pattern, you want that pattern to be facing up because it's not going to do you any good on your tassel if it's facing backwards. You can't see it. You just kind of put them together however you want, or you can make them into a pile on the work surface and just pick them up. You know, same thing with your fabric. Make sure your fabric's right side up. And just keep going. Until you have it the way you want it. So I think we'll have the green so you can see it real good there. And we'll have the yarn and then we'll have this kind of on here. Okay, so now we have it, and as you can see you do have varying lengths because just the way you're going to pick it up, it's going to give you different lengths, and that's kind of what you want. So now we need our bulb pin. So we're going to have our bulb pin here and we are going to have it open. You know, if I can remember which side opens, which side. There we go. Okay, and you're going to have to kind of stretch it out a little bit. So you take your group of ribbons and stuff and then twist at least twice so they're both going, you know, straight up like they're supposed to. And then you kind of put the stuff in the bulb pin like this. Okay. Should have a white piece of paper. Let me put a white piece of paper down so you can maybe have a shot at seeing. Okay, so I've got the bulb pin in there and I'm bringing these over this. And then shut the bulb pin because that sucker's sharp and that really hurts if you jam it in your hand. Okay, so now we've got this going over our bulb pin, and we can make any adjustments that we want to make with it. For example, I did not want the gold at the top, I wanted the other stuff at the top, so I can kind of switch it around, make sure everything's facing up real nice. And then once I have it the way I want it, I'm going to grab both sides like this, and here's where this string comes in. So I'm going to take it from round about the center of it, and I'm going to hold the string down here with this, and then I'm going to wrap it nice and tight, probably about 5 or 6 times. Okay, and then I'm going to take these two ends and I'm going to tie them together. Well, first I'm going to cut this a little bit shorter because that's ridiculous. Okay. But it's better to have some and not need it than need some and not have it. And once you get that first knot done, you can kind of let go of it. Okay, so have this tied nice and tight. And then I do what's called a surgeon's knot. So it's a regular knot, you know, you put your thread through, but then you put it through one more time. So you're putting it through twice, and that gives you a real secure knot. And then with those, I will take the Fabrifix. I will put just a drop where the knot is, because it's going to dry clear. You're not going to see it. You just kind of smush it in there and let that dry. Get this stuff out of the way here. Okay, and now we have our tassel. And we left these threads on here, and we left them nice and long because we can attach stuff to them too, you know, might as well. More the merrier, right? But here we go. See? It's nice and fluffy, and then once you have it, you can then hold it next to the book. We'll just grab this one because it's closer. You can hold it next to the book here and decide, okay, I need to cut some off, but wait to trim it up until you put your beads and things on, because you're going to knot those in and it's going to naturally make your ribbon and whatnot even shorter. Okay, so I'll sit that there for a minute and I will clean some stuff up and I'll be right back. So here we have our finished tassel. And I know you're thinking to yourselves, wait a minute, I don't remember the part where you tied all the stuff in. Well, I do, and it was great. It was life-changing. It was moving. No, it was none of those things, but yeah, apparently I forgot to hit record on the video portion of it. I do my video and my audio separate, so to add insult to injury, I do still have the audio of me doing it, which does nothing for us really. But so what I've done here, we've got our clip, and unlike some of them, I took and I did, let me pull this up so you can see. I did a jump ring. It's actually 2 jump rings. I like to have redundancy if I have something heavy on a jump ring, just in case. And I did the bulb pin from that because it just seems to hang a little bit better that way. Otherwise, I was having to fight with it every time I tried to put it on the book. But so we also hung from this on a separate bulb pin, the charm here, the Scrabble tile charm, and then of course all of our metal charms. Yeah, I put them on a jump ring and then tied the jump ring in, and that's just so that they'll lay flat here and they'll dangle straight down. Otherwise, if you try to tie them in, if you can even get this in there, they have a tendency to want to stick out. So that's why I did that. We also tied some of them onto the string from tying this part up top, and then it was great. We had a great time. I'm sorry y'all missed it, but we also put it against the book to measure it, and then we cut it so that it's going to hang nicely on the book. So let's go ahead and put this on here. And I know you can't see it very well from this angle. I'll move the angle here though. But see? Here we go. La, la, la. Put it in the frame. Let me fold it out flat. So there we go. So we have our tassel coming down, and this won't flop over obviously because gravity, but we have the tassel done. So there's that part. So now we're going to put the lace on. I know this is the other journal, but I just wanted to kind of show you what I'm talking about here. So as you can see on some of these pages, if you look, this page is a bit shorter than the one behind it. So I added some lace to it just to kind of even that up. And, you know, it's a decorative element, and there's not lace and stuff on everything, but there are on a few pages. So that's what we're going to do in our book, is we are going to add that to this one. And sometimes I use eyelash trim and things as well. So I have a selection of those. So let's see what we are going to be using. So we have some different laces here. I have some different colors and different widths. This one I'm not sure about because it's kind of a blue tone, but I'll put it on there and maybe it'll read green enough that it'll work. But I don't have a good feeling about it working. So, but anyways, we have this here. So lots of different laces to choose from. And then I also have eyelash trim. So this one, which we used on the tassel. And I do have this. It's like a bright green metallic. So we'll have to kind of see if that works in there. So let me scoot this stuff back out of the way real quick. Easier said than done. We'll bring our book in. And we will take our tassel off. Sit that up there. Okay, so we have our book here. So see how this page is just slightly shorter. So this is a good candidate, and I usually do put lace on the very first pages of the signatures. And then I'll kind of go throughout and sort of decide where I want. If I put lace on the first page of this signature, I will put it on the first page of all three, so that way it's spread evenly throughout. You know, I don't have lace clumped up at the front or the back or have to figure any of that out. So that's what we're going to do. And let's see, we will take a couple different widths of it. Let's try this first and see how this one does. I still think it's going to read kind of bluish, but well, it might. I don't know though, because I know once I glue it down permanent like, I'll be going, you know, that's totally blue. I can't deal with that. So set this off to the side. And rest the lace back in. So you have the wider pieces like this. When you have a wider piece, obviously you're not going to stick it out this way because it stick out way too far. You're going to put it down like this. So you also have to be aware of any design elements and things that you have in here that you don't want to cover. So usually my first choice for the first page is going to be one of the shorter ones. Oh, although this is kind of nice. Let's look at this one. Because this one's nice and sheer. So if we put this on here, you can still see the knotwork underneath. Ooh, I like that. You know what? I think we'll go for that on the first pages of the signatures. So we have scissors now because we're going to need those. And I'll scoot the safety pin up there. Hopefully I'll remember it's there. And so let's take a look at this one. And another thing you also want to do is kind of try it on there and then hold your book closed to see sort of how much it's going to stick out. Because you don't want it to stick out too far beyond the edges of the book. So this should be fine. See, it's staying in there pretty nice. So we will take this piece. We're going to square up this side here. That doesn't look very good. And we're going to lay this on here to see how much we need. So to about there. And then I try on the lace to stop at, you know, a design element of it versus cutting into it like that. We'll just go to this here, like so. Okay. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of those. And we are going to do the ones for the other 3. And I like to have at least one where the lace matches throughout, and then I'll do varieties on the rest. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Okay. So there we go. So those are our 3 pieces for the front part of the signature. I'll get this put back here. A little safety pin. You know, along with the ribbon, this is also a really good way to do lace because you can kind of audition it and hold it next to stuff versus having to, you know, dig it off of a spool or what have you. And we are going to attach our lace down with the surprise, surprise, Fabrifix, because it is fabric, so it works the best. Okay, so all you do is you take your lace and you lay it along here, and lace does have sometimes a different side, a front and a back. So just kind of look at both. It actually looks like this may be the front because this side looks nicer. Whichever side looks nicer is going to be the one that's the front. We'll hold it against here and see how far we want to go. So probably about a ½ inch or so in. And then we will take our Fabrifix, which of course I haven't opened in a minute, so it's decided to not want to open. And we're going to put the Fabrifix in a nice little line down here, and then go up in this part here. You don't have to put a ton because again, it's fabric, so it'll be going through the netting on the lace, and you know, if you get too much on there, it'll look kind of odd. So figure out which side's our front side, and we're just going to lay this on here. Take it away from the other page. And just kind of make sure it's nice and level where we want it, and it's equally spaced between the two. And since you have this netting here, you really want to let it dry fairly good. It doesn't take long before you go to put your next piece on, so you don't end up sticking this down to something that you don't want to. So we'll give this just a second. That should be good. And then we will go on to our next one here. And we're going to do the same thing. We'll put it, since they're the same size pages, it's going to go in the relative same place. So, put this along here. Just a little bit. I mean, you don't want to do too much, because again, it'll come through that netting and it'll get shiny looking. And there, flip it around this way. And you have a minute with the Fabrifix, and then once you've got it where you want it, you can kind of press it down. And if for some reason it doesn't grab, you can always put a little bit of more of it underneath. Okay? So I'm going to do that through here, and then I think what I'll do is I will go through and decide where to put the laces and go through the process, but I am going to speed this up, just so you don't have to sit through the whole thing, because we're already at, I think, like 20 minutes, 25 minutes with the tassel. So we don't want to go insane with our time. So that's what I'm going to do, and I will join you guys back at the end. And then if there was anything notable, I will obviously go over it with you when we look at it at the end. All right, so there we have it. We have our lace. So I ended up adding, it was pretty good before, but this page here kept kind of hanging up on this. So I went ahead and added some lace here. So now it's not going to do that. And it actually added some to the back. So a little bit more balanced now. This one's rather lace heavy, but I mean, you can do it as little or as much as you want. Sometimes I like a lot, sometimes I like a little. And then with the eyelash trim, I went with the sparkly, and then the regular, and then the sparkly. So that was that, and it's kind of a variety of them. And then once we shut our book, you know, when you take a look at it from, get it kind of at an angle, see everything's still contained within the cover of the book. It's not pooching out anywhere. And it has a lot more texture and everything now. So that is that part there. Okay, so we are going to bring our, you can't work with eyelash trim without getting it just everywhere. That's how it works. So we are going to bring, we'll go ahead and tie this shut since we can. Yeah, and everything should be set up enough. Leave it a little loose just in case, so it's got plenty of room. Bring this in here. And now we've got our lace done. We have our tassel done. And voila, it's starting to look like a real journal now. So now the next thing I'm going to do, since I had to dye some tea-dyed paper, is going to be these little texture things. So that'll be just one on its own. And then we will commence with decorating proper and do the cover and the kit ephemera and tags and all that kind of stuff. So that will be on our next episode. So I will see you guys later. Hey, and bye.